Members of his staff tell us he seems to be fine. 911 dispatchers are saying the road is closed for the time being while firefighters work to put that fire out. New details have been released in the murder of a woman from Mingo County. Charleston police say a fight over drugs led a man to kill another with his car. Hiking, camping, things of the sort are very popular this time of year. But, you know, one wrong direction, maybe one wrong step, one wrong turn, you can find yourself lost. So today, we're going to give you a few helpful hints on how to save yourself from yourself. Well, more than $1 million worth of marijuana is off the streets in Putnam County. The driver of a concrete truck that crashed yesterday on I-64 is in fair condition. A text message made its way around last night and encouraged students to stay away from parts of Huntington this weekend. We do have a copy of that text message. Of course, investigators aren't saying whether or not this has any connection to the social worker Randy was talking about. Big changes are coming to the University of Charleston and their campus. A former Wayne County Board of Education treasurer admitted that he embezzled close to $10,000 from the county. At least 50% of all injuries seen in pediatric sports medicine are related to overuse or repetitive stress due to too much training, and those numbers are on the rise. Today, President Obama takes his health care message to the University of Maryland. Yesterday, the much-anticipated Senate health care plan was rolled out. While the plan would dramatically revamp insurance rules, it hasn't garnered Republican support and lacks a government-run option backed by liberal Democrats. Brooke Hart reports from Washington, D.C.
Todos somos americanos. We are all Americans.
With Hispanic Americans last night, pop stars, and the newest high court justice listening, President Obama promoted his health care reform plan.
By giving every American the security and stability of quality, affordable health insurance. Todos somos americanos.
And the laws of the United States.
Only legal immigrants would benefit under the new Max Baucus plan in the Senate.
Every American can find quality, affordable coverage that cannot be taken away.
The plan would cover 30 million Americans not now insured and actually cut the 10-year deficit by $50 billion, says Congress's budget office. Senate Republicans aren't impressed. They pointed to weeks of vocal and visible pushback.
How are the Democrats here in Washington responding? By trying to rush through another $1 trillion bill that Americans don't even want and can't afford.
Some Democrats complained the Baucus measure has no public option, but critics called to the White House had this bottom line.
Yeah, I want it to pass.
Some House Democrats say they want the Baucus plan to fail. Too many concessions, they say.
Bipartisanship on health care reform is the political equivalent of a child looking for a unicorn.
Today, President Obama will be looking for support among young adults, 10 million of them uninsured last year. Under reform plans, they'd have to choose, be covered or be fined.
Hospitals and drug makers see dollar signs in requiring Americans to buy health insurance. They had little to say yesterday about the new Senate plan, and backers see that as good news. A final farewell for a man who served his country and gave his life in defense of Charleston. Yesterday morning, friends, family, and fellow officers gathered at the Municipal Auditorium to honor the life of Charleston police officer Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones was shot and killed early Sunday morning as he and other officers trying to stop a hit-and-run suspect. Investigators are saying he was shot accidentally by a fellow officer. The hearse carrying Jones's body was escorted through the city by Charleston police and fellow Marines, and officers helped carry the casket inside. During the ceremony, Officer Jones's badge number 155 was called over the radio one last time before being retired. The entire Charleston Police Department attended the services. They were able to do that because the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department and the South Charleston Police Department took calls for the city. Two people who detectives say lured a man into being beaten and robbed are now in jail. According to the Putnam County Sheriff's Office, Robert and Christina Stover were arrested yesterday and charged with robbery and malicious wounding. They are brother and sister. Investigators are saying that Christina called the victim last week and said her brother ran out of gas on Cow Creek near Hurricane. The victim agreed to help by bringing a can of gas, but when he got there, he was beaten and robbed. The Stovers are being held in the Western Regional Jail because investigators say they planned this whole thing. The victim was injured and is recovering. Jurors in a case of a former high school football coach charged with reckless homicide will soon begin deliberations in this case today. Well, the final witness is expected to testify today before those closing arguments and the jury deliberations begin in this case against a former Kentucky Pleasure Ridge Park coach, David Stinson. Stinson is on trial on charges of reckless homicide and wanton endangerment. The charges stem from the collapse of a player, Max Gilpin, at the end of practice. This was last year in August. Gilpin died 3 days later at a Louisville hospital. There will be some changes at Riverside High School when basketball season starts up. The boys basketball coach, Dwayne Estep, has resigned after just one season. Jason Cantrell, the school's athletic director, says Estep's decision was a mutual agreement between the coach and the school, and that's after the Warriors ended last season 5-8. It could soon cost you to go to some of West Virginia's state parks. During a meeting yesterday, West Virginia lawmakers heard a proposal to start charging entrance fees to state parks and forests as a way to boost revenue. West Virginia's park system is one of just 10 nationwide that does not currently charge any admission. Folks in Barboursville are celebrating Fall Fest, and you may need to find alternate routes to get around for the time being. The festival kicked off yesterday, but today is when you can see all those major delays. Central Avenue and Water Street to US 60 and Farmdale Road will be closed starting tonight at 6 p.m. for the parade. Also tonight, Central Avenue from Main Street to First State Bank will be closed from 6 p.m. until midnight for the street dance. On Friday and Saturday, parts of Central Avenue and Main Street will be closed for other activities. Barboursville's Fall Festival includes tonight's parade, a car show, a carnival for the kids, and nightly entertainment. It runs through Saturday. Well, 3 people did escape their burning home this morning.
Indeed, they only had a matter of moments to get out, too. Fire broke out just before 5 this morning at a house in Huntington. It happened out on South Walnut Street, and boy, when folks called in, the smoke was just billowing from the windows, flames shooting through the roof. At one point, they could be seen shooting from the attic. Again, 3 people did make it out safely. Here's pictures from the scene this morning. Again, this fire out on Walnut Street broke out about 5 this morning. Everybody out safely. No word yet on what may have started the fire, but crews will be investigating today.
They weren't expecting to test these odds. Scary morning for employees at a local gaming parlor. The robbery happened just before 2 this morning at Pam's in Ona. Now, dispatchers are saying a woman entered that gaming parlor, threatened workers with a knife and a taser, demanding cash. She got it, then took off in what they're saying was a black car. Now, witnesses are also saying the woman had a blonde ponytail and was wearing a red and white bandana over her face. So far, police have not made an arrest.
A high school student is recovering after being shot several times right in front of a school, and now investigators are trying to figure out what motivated this shooting. It happened just after 3 yesterday afternoon in the 100 block of Costello Street. That's on Charleston's west side and right near Watts Elementary School. Police say a student from Capitol High School was shot several times, getting wounds to his arm, shoulder, cuts on his head. Now, a local paper has identified the victim as Travis Armstead. According to that same report, 3 others were also shot at, but they were not injured. Police have arrested this man, though, in this shooting case. His name is Chase Meadows. He's been charged with malicious wounding and 3 counts of wanton endangerment. Meadows is being held on a $500,000 bond at the South Central Regional Jail.
Speed may have been a big factor in a crash that killed 1 person and injured another. It happened just after midnight Saturday morning in Athens County, Ohio on State Route 550. The driver, Michael Mail, died from his injuries after losing control of the vehicle, smashing into a tree. His passenger, Larry Mail Jr., was taken to the hospital with injuries. According to State Highway Patrol, the car was apparently going at a high rate of speed when it went off the road.
A teenager was killed in a car accident. It's after police say that he ran a stop sign. This accident happened Saturday afternoon in Jackson County, Ohio. Now, according to police, Taylor Hale was driving on Mariah Road, didn't stop for the stop sign, and then was hit by James Thompson. Hale was taken onto the hospital, flown there, but later died from his injuries. He was just 18 years old. A passenger in Hale's car, Cassie Rhodes, had minor injuries from the wreck as well. Now, Thompson and a passenger in his car, Bob Messer, also had minor injuries. Police still don't know why Hale did not stop.
Driver error may be to blame for an accident that shut down a road. This accident actually happened about 10 o'clock last night on Route 62 in Putnam County. This is near Sam's hot dog stand there. According to witnesses, one car didn't have its lights on, and then it slowed down, make a turn. The second car just crashed right on into it. One person was taken to the hospital. No word yet on the extent of their injuries, but the road was briefly shut down while they cleaned up the debris from the accident. It did open up about an hour later. President Barack Obama returning to Washington from his vacation.